What's up guys, I'm Rob from Whittle by Whittle Woodworking and welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be looking at a beginner's woodworking tutorial and I'm going to teach you how to turn 3 pallet wood like this into a really cool looking shelf like this. Now the cool thing is that this is for complete beginners and you will need absolute minimal tools. I'm going to use no machinery in this build, so anyone can do this. If you're interested to find out how, stick around. Okay, so when I said you're going to need minimal tools for this, I really meant it. All we're going to need for this build is a hammer, a saw, and a pencil. That's it for tools. Some additional things, you're definitely going to need some glue. I'm using this construction adhesive, so I recommend getting some of that. And if you want to add some finish at the end, grab yourself some wood finish. They look cool, rustic and natural as well, so if you don't have any finish to hand, no problem whatsoever. So, let's do it.
Okay, so I know what you're going to say. I said we would use just 2 tools for this, and here I am using a pallet buster. You can use a claw hammer, but the truth is it takes quite a while and I only had a small amount of fill time.
Okay, so you've got your pallet broken down and what you're left with is this lovely pile of scrap pallet wood. The first thing we have to do before we're able to build with this is actually get these nasty nails out of the pallet wood. So what we're going to do that is use a claw hammer. We'll start off by tapping the nail from the underside, and when it starts to poke out the other end, we'll flip it over, we'll use the claw end of the hammer to pry that nail out of the wood. Let's see how it's done. Right, so now the nails are out of the timber, what we're going to do is mark up for our cuts. My personal preference for these particular shelves are 30 centimetres high by 20 centimetres wide. You can do whatever you feel makes the most sense for what you're going to use them for. So now we've made our measurement marks, we're going to draw a straight line across the timber at those marks, which is going to show us where we're going to saw. So I'm going to use this kind of general purpose saw from Stanley. You can pick these up from pretty much any hardware store. They're really cheap and cheerful, but they have a really cool function that not a lot of people know of. You can use the handle here and the blade here to make 90-degree lines. You butt the saw handle up against the wood, you move the edge of the blade to your marker, and you draw a straight line across the timber. Okay, so now we have our pallet wood cut to size. We're going to mark up for our miters. The miters are what we're going to use to join the wood together. So we're going to take a piece of timber and we're going to go back to our trusty general purpose saw from Stanley, which I remember showed you earlier, you can use to make 90-degree lines. Well, the cool thing about it, even cooler, is that you can also use it for 45-degree lines. So we butt up in the 90-degree position and then you can turn the saw to the other straight edge here, and there on the back edge of the saw is 45 degrees. Very cool. So we're going to move the edge of the saw to the very corner of one of the pieces of wood. Make sure we're butted up against the right line just here. We're going to take a pencil and we're going to make our mark, and that is our saw line for 45 degrees. Now we'll do the same on the other 3 and the other side of this. So depending on where you're at on your woodworking journey, you may find you have additional tools available to you that make some of these processes a lot quicker and a lot easier. If you've got tools like that, please go ahead and use them here because, you know, if you can make it quicker and easier, why not do that? An example I can show you from this project is the general assembly saw that we've been using here to make our 90-degree and our 45-degree lines ready for our cuts. Well, there is a tool that you can use called the Speed Square. And the Speed Square is a great little addition to your workshop that will allow you to be able to set angles on your timber really quick and easily. So if you can get hold of one of these guys, I recommend it. Okay, so now we're going to cut the miters into the timber. And we're going to use the general purpose handsaw for this. Again, if you've got other tools, for example maybe a miter saw or perhaps a table saw, you can use those to make things a lot quicker, but we're going to continue with the handsaw for this demonstration. So what I'm going to do first is actually clamp the workpiece down. I didn't do that on the cross cuts, but this is just going to make sure that the workpiece doesn't move while I'm cutting it. It's just going to make it a little bit easier for me. Okay, so now we're going to glue our project together. We're not using any fancy joinery, we're not using screws or nails for this. We're just going to use this cool little product called Miter Fast. It's a super glue with an accelerant spray that just speeds up the process and cures in about 10 seconds, so it's super fast to assemble, and once it's dry, it's really strong. So I left it to sit for about 60 seconds just to make sure the glue is fully cured, just so it's ready to handle and it's not going to fall apart when we pick it up. But it's actually, it's solid, it's not going anywhere. So there we have it. Our frame for our pallet wood shelf is ready to go. Last thing to do is put the shelf on and it's ready to put on the wall.